All right, thanks. See you tomorrow. Hi, I just got a racket dropped off for restringing by a new client. His name is Sam. And when he handed it to me, the strings are still on the racket, but in a very interesting fashion. But before I show it to you, I did post a short video this week leading up to this. So if you haven't seen it, you can check it out here. Let's say in a match and during a rally you break a string, the ball goes in, what would you do next? A, would you continue the point? B, would you call a let and replay the point? Or C, would you continue the point and call a let if you lose the point? If you picked A, you are correct. But how should you hit the ball for the rest of the rally to keep your balls in? Should you A, hit a lot of topspin? B, should you slice your balls? Or C, should you hit your balls flat at 50% swing speed? So if you pick B, you are correct. You should definitely go with slice. But let's just see what happens if you hit in those three ways. So with a topspin stroke, if you're hitting it, a lot of times it'll tend to send the ball launching and the balls will go long, even though that one in. On a flat, because you're hitting at 50% swing speed, it can tend to take you out of your rhythm. But if you go with a slice, you can take a full cut and you'll notice that the balls will stay in. So now the rally ended. According to the rules of tennis, you are allowed to use another racket as long as you brought it onto the court before the match started. So let's say you only have one racket. So here are some options. One, you could ask your opponent if you could borrow a racket. Two, you could ask a friend that's watching the match to bring you a racket. Or three, you could continue to use the racket that has a broken string on it. So what would you most likely do in this scenario? Well, if you watch this week's video, you'll find out what inspired this broken string scenario. All right, so let's take a look at the strings that are still on Sam's racket. And I didn't get to speak to him much before when he dropped it off, but I'll point out some things that I found interesting about this racket. So you can see the original tie-off knots, 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one up here. He broke the strings apparently in the middle, so then he had to tie off here. And there's an interesting knot here at the top of the head, right there in the bumper guard. And the bumper guard itself is really worn. You can see how much wear there is on both sides of the head. And really that's another issue in itself. There's another break that happened here, so then he tied off right here. So I'm really curious, and I'm hoping that when he comes to pick up his racket, I can do an interview with him and find out how it happened first and how he managed to restring his racket on court and continue to play. All right, so we got Sam here and he agreed to do this interview. So thanks again, Sam.
No worries, my pleasure.
So the first thing I wanted to ask you when you gave me the racket, and I noticed that there were two breaks in the racket. There was one in the center and one in the end. So first I wanted to know how it happened when you played.
Oh, sure. Well, I went to the local tennis courts and just kept playing, hitting, and one of the strings broke, and I normally have three strings, three rackets, but in this case I only had one. So, you know, and I didn't want to stop. So I figured, oh man, this is messed up. And so normally I would just cut all the strings because to relieve the tension, but in this case I wanted to continue to play. So I made knots on the two strings. That way I can at least keep the tension, what was left of it. So I kept playing, and next thing you know, I broke another string. So that was sort of messed up. So I did the same thing. I said, okay, I'm gonna tie knots and we'll go from there. And started hitting with it. And to my surprise, I actually had to hit the ball with a quicker swing to propel the ball, you know, deep into the court. And then, of course, other times these balls were going all over. Yeah, and I had not a lot of control.
Well, the one knot, you said you were tying it up as you went, was the one at the top, which I thought was interesting. I actually saved it. So how did you tie this one? Because I can understand how you tied the ones on the string bed, but how did you get that one to stay up there?
Oh, well, it's just a double, looks like a double loop knot. it was sticking out here.
Did you pull it?
Yeah, I actually had to
Yeah.
bite it with my teeth because I didn't have pliers or anything like that.
Yeah.
And you can't use your fingers. It's just, I'm not powerful enough to. If I had tools, I could have just pulled it. But
Yeah.
the standby teeth is worked.
Okay, I thought that was interesting. Another thing that I noticed, there was so much wear on the head, and I showed that earlier in the video, that I actually put some head tape on here.
Oh, fantastic.
But whenever you wear a racket this far down, it does lighten the racket. And I did another video on that, so
okay.
you might want to check that out. So anyway, and it looked like you actually broke the one here from, did you hit it on the ground or did you hit the wall?
It was in the air.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. You said you had to hit the ball quicker. Did you go with topspin or underspin?
Well, on my forehand, I tend to topspin. And depending on the ball on the backhand, I can either slice or topspin it. And most of the shot, I didn't really change my swing path. But what I did notice was when I was swinging, because it was so loose, I wouldn't even say, I would say even like maybe 20 or 25 pounds was left. I mean, they were pretty still had tension on the edges here, but in the middle, it was pretty shot.
I actually tried to take a reading with my ERT3. It couldn't even pick it up.
Yeah.
It was so loose.
So I just used my regular strokes, and I did realize that when I was doing that, there were some balls that would, spray all over. I had like, whoa, where'd that come from? But the most consistent part was I actually had to have a quicker swing to attack the ball to get it, to get a little bit more control and to get it deeper. Because if I was using my normal swing speed, I had less control.
Yeah, there is actually a technique for when you break a string and you play, but I won't tell you. You got to watch the video.
Okay.
I already taped that portion of this video. So so thanks again, Sam, for the interview. Well, it goes to show that you can play with a racket if you break your strings. You just got to know how to tie it off, I guess, and know how to hit the ball properly at that point. Thanks for watching.
And let your strings play.
No. Happy stringing.
Thanks for watching. We're gonna put the cards over there.
No, I can't do this.
Happy.
Thanks for watching.
Happy stringing. And let your strings play.
Yay! Aloha! The AM Stringing Pro Shop is happy to serve Hawaii's tennis community's tennis needs. However, if I don't carry something that you want here in the shop, or you don't live in Hawaii, here's another way that you can support local. I recently joined the Tennis Warehouse affiliate team, and if you purchase any products from Tennis Warehouse, please use my affiliate link provided below. I will receive a commission, which will help support local and my YouTube channel. Mahalo for your support, and let your strings play.